Okay, well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sean. How are we?
All good. Thanks. How's yourself, Robert?
Very good, thank you. Just not long back, I run one of the runs on your training plan, and I feeling all the better for it. Heavy legs, but all the better for it. So, thank you for that. And you've been a run this morning as well, I believe.
Yeah, got an easy 8 miles in. I know that might sound a bit shocking to people, easy 8 miles, but yeah, just sort of recovery pace to help the body recharge and regenerate for tomorrow's big training session.
Excellent,
Yeah.
good, good. Pleased to hear it, and I hope it goes well tomorrow. But just for the purposes of those who are watching and listening, just say the introductions again. Many of you a few weeks back will have listened and watched the chat that Sean and I had around about motivation and particularly staying motivated during lockdown. Sean Fontana from Fontana Fit, who are a partner of Achieve More. Sean talked about growing up in Drumchapel and Maryhill, the challenges that he faced as someone who was unfit, unhealthy in many respects, and how he used some of these challenges to then get fit and change lots about his life. And I have to say, Sean, and you and I obviously have spoken offline before the reaction to that podcast was incredible. Number of people thanking you because they saw a lot of themselves as children. And what you were saying, they saw a lot of themselves in terms of you sort of opening yourself up, both in terms of your mentality back as a 14-year-old, but also now as an athlete. And again, just the honesty you showed in terms of the challenges that you still face emotionally, in terms of getting motivated and fighting with your mind to get out there and to do a run. If you've not had a good run, what it does to you, that sort of thing. So the feedback has been incredible, and that lots of people thanking us for that. So it's certainly made a real impact. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about the chat that we had before we move on to talk about today's topic.
It's good. It's good that people see themselves in the journey that I went through, and the reason for that is because I'm a human being, and that's what we all have in common. Even our celebrities and our idols and our icons, we're all human beings, so we've all got it in common. It's just like we were saying about the mindset and using your motivation for something better than possibly hanging around street corners and wasting that time that you could have been putting into doing something better for yourself. Mm-hmm. And then another thing that I didn't speak about last week was another part of my motivation is to do the things that I'm doing, making sure they're beneficial for myself and for my family and my loved ones, but doing it for something bigger than yourself. So a lot of people, I'm still getting a lot of texts from my clients and social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, saying I'm really losing motivation during lockdown, and it's completely normal because we're human beings at the end of the day. But what we've got to do is, one, gain perspective, and then two, if you can do fitness and health or something bigger than yourself, you'll not give up on yourself as easy. I.e., do it to be around longer for your kids, do it to be around longer for your spouse, your husband or your wife or your partner or whoever it is. Or if it's, say a family member. So for me, it would be, back in the day, my gran was really sick and she was in hospital. And I think it was about 6 months before the national championships, and I think it was 2014, my first ever national championships for the 5K. I promised her that I'd win her gold, and I did, because I'd done it for something bigger than myself. Mm-hmm. The days where you don't feel like it, you don't want to go out the door, you don't want to put yourself through any pain and discomfort when you do this exercise, you look up to the sky and you'll be like, nah, I can't quit on her. Mm-hmm. And that's what started this process of going, if you do it for something bigger than yourself, then you may give up on yourself sometimes, but you won't give up on that thing that you love and value the most.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the massive things that I could say, that takeaways that I maybe never mentioned last time round, was figure out, who you love or what you love, and if you can't do it for you, do it for them.
I can really resonate with that, and again, you and I have spoken about this. We have within the family, there are health challenges within the family, and I think about 4 or 5 years back, I realised I was carrying nearly 17 stone at the time. Diet was terrible. I'd been fit and active in my younger days, but had really let myself go. And I looked at my kids and thought, they've got a dad who's a walking heart attack here. That's, and I felt I had an obligation to them, as much as to myself to try and get fit, but an obligation to them to be as healthy a parent as I could be, as they grew up, and and the chance that I'll be there longer term for them because I'm beginning to look after myself. And it's one of the sort of, that bigger picture that you talk about. When I do a run, my mantra has never changed since I first did my long run in 2011, and as a member of the family who is has health issues, and I just keep saying to myself when I'm running, she can't give up, so neither can I. And that's my mantra when I go, and that's what gets me through the sort of late miles I run, or when I'm having a crap training run or whatever it is. It's just about, these people can't give up, so neither can I. And so I can resonate. And I actually really enjoyed when you posted the video of the National 5K Champs at Scots. And it was a great run. And you could see in your story that it was for somebody other than yourself. So it was spectacular. So well done on that one.
Thank you very much.
So, based on the sort of feedback that we had from the last chat, and also I think one of the important things to tell those who are listening is, as well as the podcast and Sean in the background, is every week creating a fitness video aimed at primary school kids, particularly in primary schools that Achieve More are active in, and we post that along to the individual schools, who then put it on their social media and on their own school platforms, encouraging kids to keep active whilst they're not at school, and encouraging parents to get involved with that as well. So that's another service that the partnership with Fontana Fit has offered to the young people that we are working with. Whilst they're not in school, we're still encouraging them to keep active. And again, the feedback from the schools that we're involved with has been incredibly positive for that. And again, the feedback that the schools are getting from parents and carers is, this is brilliant, thanks very much for that. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's manageable. It's pitched at the right level for the pupils that are doing it. So well done for that, and thank you again for that support.
No worries. I mean, that's something that I wish I took more serious back when I was younger. So that's why I feel really compelled to do that for the kids. Sometimes if I look back and think, well, would I be an even better athlete if I wasn't as overweight and I had less of a head start than the other guys who were maybe slim and already, had muscles.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that for the kids just now and make it fun, make it light-hearted, not make it repetitive, because as kids, even nowadays, we're getting shorter attention spans nowadays, because bloody TikTok's around and it's just repeat, loop, and we need to make sure we're keeping the kids engaged. So good music, having a little bit of fun, keeping them their minds active, and coordination and all that sort of stuff. I'm really enjoying delivering those videos to the kids, because it's just something, it's a platform that will help them. Again, if they see myself and they can understand where, if they can look at me as a role model and think, well, if he can do it, so can I. We're winning at the end of the day with that one.
And I think that's why it was important that we had the chat a couple of weeks back, because these aren't just videos produced by this super fit athlete who's always been like that. There's the whole Sean Fontana story behind it that makes it real for every single person who wants to get fit or get a bit fitter. And I think that's why that chat was important, and that there's a context to this. And I suppose what we're going to talk about now is naturally leads on from the whole thing about keeping fit, staying motivated, and it is the whole thing about eating as healthily as possible.
Yeah.
Again, offline, you and I had a quick chat there. I went for a run last night and passed a queue of over a mile long of people queuing up for a McDonald's takeaway in one of the McDonald's in East Kilbride. And it's just incredible, you know, and clearly people have missed it. And you know, they're not casting any judgments about that, but it's just remarkable that, you know, that's the thing. Once the world begins to open up again, so many people want a McDonald's. It's incredible, isn't it?
Hopefully they were queuing up for a chicken salad, but I don't know if they were. Who knows? But again, it's we do live in a world where, you know, if McDonald's, if the golden arches weren't going to take over our health and fitness, then there's probably another company just, you know, right there on its shoulder waiting to swoop in and do the exact same, which is tough because, you know, ultimately, you know, they're running a business, they're providing a service, and it's never going to go away unless people actually stop going there, and their marketing, the way they add flavourings and preservatives and salts and all these sort of flavourings to their foods will entice the brain and the body to keep coming back for more. It becomes a bit addictive. And again, we've been 10 weeks off of McDonald's, 12 weeks off McDonald's. And, you know, there's queues for days. People are waiting an hour and a half to get, you know, these, you know, whatever it is, Burger King, McFlurries and Big Macs and all that sort of stuff, and their Happy Meals with toys in them and things like that. And I think it's, you know, maybe people missed something when it was gone, so they maybe they crave just one of them. Who knows? But it is quite alarming to see how the struggle people will go through for fast food, but won't go through that for their own health and fitness and wellness. That's from a personal training standpoint, from an athlete, from a coach. I'm actually like, if you can put that much determination and stubbornness and passion into waiting in a queue for an hour, but you could have probably just exercised in that hour when you're sitting in your car, scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram, whatever it may be, texting, phoning your mates, and giving you a wee Snapchat of, OMG, the golden arches have opened and I've just got my first Big Mac in 10 weeks. The determination to get that done, we need to try and shift that into a more positive light of determination of getting your body fitter and healthier. I'm not saying that you can't go and have McDonald's if you want to be fit and healthy. It's just, you know, we can see that human beings have the ability to be determined and have the patience for something. It's just too bad that it's something that's not going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. And that's where, you know, it is quite alarming. Hopefully, you know, maybe the novelty wears away and things go back to normal. But, you know, it must be a really big addiction if, you know, after 10 weeks, the human mind is now forgot. It's after about, I think it's about 3 weeks, your body is now kind of sort of, the urge and the craving is gone. It's the same with smoking. But when it's 10 weeks later, it shows that, you know, it's the psychology. The body's forgot about it, but the brain still is, you know, it's still rolling about in the brain's head at the back somewhere. And as soon as that yellow M goes on, the light goes on, people just scatter, flocks.
I think, I mean, I'll say to people, you know, so, you know, what is it about McDonald's? And they'll say it's fast and it's cheap. Well, obviously just now it's not fast because you're queuing for over an hour, you know, but that's obviously because of the situation that we're living in at this point in time. I think the thing that really strikes me is they'll say it's cheap. And it makes me think, you know, that hour that they stood in that queue, were in their car in that queue waiting for a drive-through at McDonald's, they could have been making something for the same cost, which is probably more nutritious, better for the kids, better for the family as a whole. And again, that was something that I wanted to explore with you. As you're aware, as a charity, amongst many other charities and community organisations, we've been supporting communities over the past 10, 11 weeks by doing pop-up food banks, food deliveries and the likes to vulnerable people, vulnerable families and the likes. Within these packs, we try and make sure that there are a number of meals that families or people can create. So we'll have pasta, we'll have rice, we'll have certain meats, chicken and the likes, we'll have sauces, we'll try and put in veg, we'll put in some fruit, amongst other things, as well as usual milk and bread. And what I was keen to do with you, again, because I follow you on social media and I'll see your sort of posts when you'll do a wee sort of 30-second snapshot of a meal that you're making, the ingredients that's in it and how quickly it comes together. And clearly it's healthy and nutritious and there's everything you could want in there. I was keen to explore with you in terms of the ingredients that many families who, let's face it, will be on low income because of the current circumstances, or maybe more generally they're on low income, how these families can make the most of the ingredients that they have to make healthy and nutritious meals. And I would just like you to share some of your thoughts and ideas around about that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I've drawn up a few things about, you know, cheap, sort of easy, quick meals. And, you know, the staple one can be something like spaghetti bolognese, where, you know, if you're using a red meat, tin of chopped tomatoes, make sure it's not a branded tin as well. Make sure it's the supermarket's own, you know, so it's only like, you know, 10, 12, 13 pence. And you can get ones that have already like garlic or basil or mixed herb to give it that flavour. So then that means that you don't need to spend much in vegetables if you don't have the, you know, the salary at the moment to splash on, you know, say like fancy fruit and veg that is on the shelf. So then either you can put in 2 onions, a pepper, and then, you know, maybe two cloves of garlic. If you don't like, people sometimes don't like chopping vegetables. So from there you can buy, or if you've got the stuff there, you can get like chopped frozen veg, which is always a lot cheaper than the fresh stuff, and it's still just as nutritious. They, you know, they chop it and they freeze it when they get it. If you don't want to use a red meat, use something like your tofu, your quorn, your beans or your pulses, or just a vegetable bolognese, because some people are vegetarian, some people are vegan, all that sort of stuff. Again, if you've got a gluten intolerance, and you probably don't want to be using that pasta unless it's gluten free. So then you would use your rice or your potatoes instead. And then at the end of it, if there's a bit of cheese or anything that you want to grate over the top, you can have, you know, some cheese on the top of it to, you know, just give it a wee bit of flavour. Because I know that one thing that I've always known through the years of coaching people and helping people with their nutrition is it has to be palatable, it has to be tasty. Hence why McDonald's are winning over and over and over again. It's super tasty, even though we know that it's garbage. It's really, really tasty. So if we can then compete with the flavour, then hopefully we can more times win with the home cooked foods and less times lose, instead of more times lose and less times win. With if you've got, you know, your chicken, you can make a creamy or a tomato based chicken pasta. So I've got down here, you know, like a Dolmio cream sauce. If that sometimes isn't on offer, you can go to the fridge and get the double cream. So just get the fresh cream that you can pour on there. You would cook the chicken first, make sure that's cooked all the way through. Then you'd add your veggies, so it maybe be like an onion, a pepper, maybe some frozen peas if it's a cream sauce, and then some spinach for iron if you've got that lying around. And then you would then add your double cream or your Dolmio sauce. If it's a Dolmio sauce, it's already got all the flavours, but with double cream, it's going to be quite bland. So again, you can either use some garlic powder, or you can use some onion powder, some salt, some pepper as well. You can have that with your pasta, you can have that with your rice. And also, if you want to go the veggie option, you can tofu, corn, or you can just keep it vegetarian with your veggies. If it's a creamy pasta, you're using a Dolmio. If it's a tomato pasta, again, you can use your tin tomatoes, or you can make it rice-based as well. Bring in your rice. If you want to use the potatoes, then what you do is you could cook it all up, then you could slice the potatoes on top and then just stick it in the oven for 20 minutes and have like a little chicken hot pot, something like that. That would take about 30 minutes to make because the chicken takes about 10 minutes to fry. The veggies, you pop them in and then you pop the potatoes on the top, fire it in the oven, you've got a home cooked meal in 30 minutes. Potatoes are also going to take longer than your rice and your pasta. Sometimes if you're really, really stuck for time, and sometimes pasta, sometimes rice takes about 15 minutes, you can always use one of the supermarket's own, chicken savoury rice, whole grain rice, basmati rice, the one that you can just tear, put in the microwave for 90 seconds, and bada bing, bada boom, you've got that with your meal as well. And I think they're about 80 to 90 pence. Sometimes they go on offer for about 60p. And that's what I use whenever I've got like a chicken salad and I've got a plunk of rice at the side of my plate. It's more often than not, it's one of those microwave ones.
Right.
Just because we're spending so much time chopping up the veggies, we forget to put the rice on at the start. Just happens. It happens all the time. But again, if you always put the thing that takes the longest on first, while you're doing all the quick things, that thing will be done at the same time as.
Yeah.
Again, we're always in a rush. Like patience, we're getting patience. So I'll just throw the rice in the microwave and then cook it up. And then for things that we're talking about the we were saying waiting an hour for certain things in the queue for McDonald's, and we could have made a nutritious meal. If you batch cook stuff, or if you put stuff in like a slow cooker in the morning, these sort of things will help you be less inclined, because there's nothing in the fridge, there's nothing in the freezer that you can take out and defrost and have in the microwave or in the oven. You're more likely, when there's nothing in the fridge, you're going to go over and you're going to get the fast food, or you're going to go on justeat.com or whatever it is. Homemade soup as well. Homemade soup is really, really cheap, especially if you're not using any meat. But if you are wanting to do homemade soup, use the cheap meats, in terms of use the chicken thighs, use the chicken drumsticks, boil them, cook them for an hour to an hour and a half. And what it's going to do is the broth is going to be really, really tasty, because you've boiled the chicken bones, and that's what gives it a really nice flavoursome stock. So you don't really actually need to add too much flavourings on top of that. Just a couple of carrots, a couple of onions, maybe some, if you get a nice cheap like sort of packet of lentils, all in there. Do that on Sunday morning, and by Sunday night you're having, you're plating up homemade soup. And if whatever's left over, put them in Tupperware boxes, stick them in the freezer, and then pull them out each day, so you can defrost them and have them for lunch or dinner the next day. But that's one of the biggest things, is making sure when you've got time, using it wisely. Like, use that time wisely. And also, one of the things that I do is, I know that the guys get the parcels delivered. So what you need to do is, with the parcel, is actually write down what meals you can make with the parcel. So if you do get, say sausages and 6 eggs and some toast, you'd be like, right, well, maybe for lunch we could have a couple of grilled sausages, maybe 2 fried eggs, or 2 poached eggs, or 2 scrambled eggs, and 2 slices of that toast. And you'd write that, so then you know exactly what you're going to have those days, so you don't need to sort of, well, what will I have? Oh, what could I have? You plan your meals with the chicken, and it's a dolmio sauce or a tomato sauce, and you've got your pasta. You're going to go, right, well, on Tuesday night we're going to have tomato chicken pasta. That's what we're going to have, and then we're going to make enough of it, so then we can either have it for dinner the next night, so then we don't even need to cook. We just heat up in the microwave and we're good to go, or we have it for lunch that the next day.
Yeah.
So you utilise, basically, when you're cooking, don't need to cook every day. You're utilising your time properly, so then the next day you can go, great, I can just stick it in the micro and I'm golden. That's sort of my little tips with the food parcel. If you're not getting a food parcel, I would say, when you're shopping online, make a plan of meals. So on Monday you're going to say, so for me, I'd say, right, I want a chicken and avocado salad. So I'm going to buy the chicken, I'm going to get the avocados, I'm going to get the spinach, I'm going to get the onions, I'm going to get all those things, but then I'm going to go, right, well, there's going to be enough in that for maybe another chicken salad, maybe not I don't want it on the Tuesday, but I'll have it on the Wednesday, so there'll be spinach, lettuce in the bag left over, so I make sure I have a chicken salad again on the Wednesday, so I can utilise and I don't waste any food. on the Tuesday, I'm going to I've got a big training session that day. So at night time, I want to have a high calorie meal. So I maybe I go, right, what can I get? And I'll go, right, all the extra special Tesco burgers or something like that, caramelised burgers. Have that on a bun with some lettuce or some spinach, some fresh sliced tomato, some fresh sliced onion, and then maybe a bit of barbecue sauce on there. Again, if somebody wants to have cheese, like a cheese slice on there or whatever. But always planning. And then if it's porridge, I'll buy a big box of porridge. For me, because I'm lactose intolerant, it's a little bit more expensive, but I'll get oat milk. But again, I could easily just, if I wanted to, if I like the taste of porridge with water, I could just have it with water if I wanted.
Yeah.
If you want to sort of cut the cost of porridge and make it a little bit cheaper, you can have it half with milk and half with water. So what you do is you fill 50% milk, 50% water, and then you're saving that milk for a later time. Cereal and milk, really, really effective. Nice, lots of carbohydrates like granola, these sort of things. Making sure you're always buying the store brand and not the brand, because those brands just rip you off. Unless you really like it, just make sure it's on offer. I'll buy one, get one free. I love eggs, so eggs are really cheap to have. I'll have an omelette, or I'll have some scrambled eggs or fried eggs. Eggs anyway, I'll have them. And then my staple is in the morning is something like toast and almond butter and toast and jam. Again, I only have almond butter because I'm allergic to peanuts. But if somebody wanting some peanuts, it's like a pound for a store-bought jar of peanut butter, and peanut butter and jam in the morning on some toast. I'm good to go.
Perfect. And these are great tips, but they are so simple, and I think they probably make a number of people realise that, well, these are things that I'll be buying anyway, and these are just, I think it is the planning that goes into it, so knowing what you're going to be eating over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 days, and making the most of what's left once you've prepared those meals. What about things like just sort of old traditionals like mince and totties? What's the sort of nutritional value of that? I mean, there are many people out there who would say, oh, he's talked about pasta and he's talked about rice, but I don't eat that foreign muck. I just like the traditional things. So what about things like mince and totties? Is that a meal that you would recommend? Is it healthy? Is it nutritious? Or is it one to avoid?
No, it's definitely nutritious. Like, I mean, you've got your red meat in there for your protein. It's also got really good vitamins and minerals that help, certain chemical reactions take place in your body. Potatoes, like a lot of people, people think carbohydrates like potatoes and pastas and rices are the devil because, it's carbs, it's bad for you. But we need those carbohydrates to fuel us to do exercise, to make us feel good, and give this a little bit of fuel as well up top. If we deplete ourselves of carbohydrates, we actually don't think properly. So the best, I would say, potatoes are brilliant, and they've got no gluten in them either. Like, they don't make you bloated the same way a bowl of pasta would.
Yeah.
So potatoes are awesome, especially keep the skin on them if you want as well. Like boil, like I think a lot of people might not like making mashed potatoes a lot because they maybe need to peel the skin all the time and it's a bit of a fan. Honestly, boil the skin has got fibre in it. Boil the potatoes, just slice them in half, boil the potatoes, and then just start mashing them with the skin in them. Oh, delicious. But again, if you want to peel them, no bother at all. Putting a little bit of butter in there, a little bit of milk, nothing too crazy, a little bit of salt just for flavouring. And then the least nutritious part is going to be the gravy. So making the gravy, that's where you want to try and make sure you don't overload that with too many granules or too much salt.
Yeah.
That's it. That is literally the only bit where you're thinking, is the salt content. But that is, but just now, if we're exercising, if we're out walking the dog, or we're out running, or we're out cycling, we need those salts anyway because we've been sweating.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's completely fine. It's replacing the sodium that I sweated out. If you're going to have that with some frozen peas or some cabbage, that's you get your meat, your protein, your carbs from your potatoes, and then your vitamins and minerals from your veggies. It's absolutely excellent. And you can keep, if people want to go, well, what about chicken? Like chicken and gravy with some onions or something, and the mashed potatoes and the peas or the cabbage, spot on. The only thing that is alarming about any of those sort of meals is the gravy with the salt, not the fat. You know, chicken, potatoes and veggies, it's an absolutely spot on meal. You've got all your proteins, carbs and your minerals there to help give you that good nutritious meal and that full spectrum of vitamins and minerals as well.
Fantastic. Obviously, these podcasts, these chats are targeted at the children, the young people and the families who are part of the wider Achieve More family. And one of the things I think you'll know we're involved in is a project called Empower Me, where we have a group of young women who over the last couple of years have been developing a project which has a lot of issues-based activity to it, but they also have fun. And we basically say to this group, you choose the things that you want to do. And very interestingly to me last year, the group said, we want somebody to come in to teach us to cook. And I thought, it's a bit stereotypical, getting young women to cook, blah, blah, but they said, no, we don't get home economics in school anymore. So we don't get the opportunity to learn to cook the way our mums or our aunties or whoever did. And, you know, life being the way it is, 100 miles an hour, we don't often get the chance to get taught at home how to cook. And for me, as you're talking, I think one of the things that really strikes me is there's a real opportunity here to get kids involved in preparing the food so that they can see what they're eating and the goodness in terms of that prep and you know, being part of the end result and that achievement that they get from preparing it. Have you got any opinions on that?
Yeah, I would start, if the kids have never done any sort of cooking before, I would start them on maybe preparing, like bringing, if the adult starts with, you know, asking them to get the things from the fridge so they understand what a pepper is, what an onion is, what the chicken in the process that it goes through in terms of the chicken has to be cooked first because, you know, that's the thing that takes the longest. First time like standing over and watching the adult cook. The next time may be that when the adult is watching the chicken, the kids could maybe prep on some of the vegetables, maybe peeling the onion, the skin off the onion, you know, carefully, you know, maybe chopping the onion in half, chopping the carrots up and doing it nice and slow with the adult overseeing what they're doing. I would never get kids at the start to handle the meat just because they may not know the sort of the importance of, you know, washing your hands before and after cooking and touching uncooked meat. So I would stay with the vegetables to start, and then from there it would be, you know, they can put the veggies in, and they'll be all maybe wonky sizes, and they can have a bit of fun. They can have a wee laugh that, you know, one carrot's, you know, probably like 3 inches long, the next carrot's half a centimetre long, and, you know, and just have a bit of fun with it. Maybe after the meal's been prepared, maybe they can make a face with it, you know, with the carrots and the peas and the gravy or the mashed potatoes. They can make little faces and put the gravy in the eyes and the smile. But, you know, including them in the things and just giving them a little bit of guidance. You know, I'm always worried what to say here because there'll always be somebody that would be like, oh, you can't have a kid with a knife and cutting, you know, vegetables and things like that. And it's like, yes, you can. You just need to make sure the vegetables aren't complicated to cut. They're not maybe using a peeler for the carrots. You peel them first so they don't peel the skin off their fingers. Just make sure they've got some supervision and make them feel part of the process that they made it as well. And then you give them encouragement and saying, well done. Maybe you give them a wee dessert afterwards as a positive reinforcement to go, thanks for helping mummy or daddy with the cooking. Here you go, there's a wee bowl of ice cream or there's a wee yogurt or something like that. And it's positive reinforcement and they go, oh, that was great actually. And then before you know it, maybe you're chopping the veg and they're standing over the pot, stirring the chicken and stirring the veggies as they're cooking, and you're saying, mum or dad, oh, the onions are cooked now, you can put the carrots in or you can put the mushrooms in. And just being part of the process, because I think across cultures, people use food as a way to come together,
Mm-hmm.
and as a family, you know, cooking together will help bring that bond a little bit more towards being appreciative of the food that's on your plate.
Absolutely, I think it makes so much sense. One of the things you touched on there was desserts, and that was something I wanted to ask you about, because let's be frank, we all deserve a treat now and again. So, in terms of the more sort of nutritious, the healthier desserts, what would you recommend? I know you mentioned yogurt there, but what about other things? I mean, what sort of things would you recommend as a dessert?
So I believe you can have anything, any dessert, as long as it's in moderation. Don't don't binge on it. Like, understand that these things have a lot of calories, they have a lot of sugars, they have a lot of, you know, things that, you know, basically your body doesn't really use as fuel and stores as fat. Very, very high in calories. And basically, if say, you know, you've been working out really, really hard, or you've been out a walk, you've been cycling, you've been doing any physical activity, yeah, you can have a little treat as a reward for doing really, you know, doing good exercise or going out there and working hard. If you've not, you know, worked out, then you just need to make sure that you're having maybe a healthier dessert option. So dessert options for me are something like I was talking about yogurt. If you're lactose or dairy intolerant, then you can have the dairy free, or you can have your soya yogurt, or you can have coconut yogurt. But again, coconut yogurt is really, really expensive, and I only get that in a treat sort of. I only get that, you know, once every couple of weeks. Have that with some fruit, you know, some like banana, strawberries, and raspberries, and then drizzle some honey over the top.
Mm-hmm.
If you want something sweet, you could break a bit of chocolate into that, like break a wee slither of chocolate, break that over the top, and that's getting your sort of guilty quick fix
Sure.
of sweet. Things like, you know, like a sponge cake, where like a lemon sponge cake, maybe with like a wee half tin of custard. Your kid has a half, and you have a half, and you have a wee bit of lemon sponge. Sponge cakes aren't really that too much if they're not all butter.
Mm-hmm.
They're not that calorific in comparison to, you know, like your chocolate gâteau cakes and all these things that get layers and layers of icing, like whipped icing over the top and lots of filling in the middle. These are kind of like basically like loaves of bread that are really, really sweet. So it's just a sweetened version of the bread that you have.
Uh-huh.
That's what these like Madeira cake and angel cake and all these sort of things are. They're just
Right.
sweetened versions. Having that with some custard. You can have, you know, I would say like you can have sorbet. So that's really, really, really low in calories because it's just fruit juice and water that's made into ice. So sorbet is really low calorie if you're looking for that sort of sweet fix that you quite like ice cream, but you don't really want to have the calories of ice cream.
Yeah.
You can have that. There's something called Halo Top. I don't know if you've heard of that. Halo Top ice cream, which is like a high protein ice cream, which has got basically a quarter of the calories in one tub is what like a Haagen-Dazs ice cream has. Again, it can be quite expensive, so I'd say like just, you know, using that as a treat, as a reward. If you are having like your Haagen-Dazs and you're having normal ice creams, just making sure that you look at the back and you understand like the serving sizes.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people we get caught out in how we think a serving is, how big we think a serving is. I think we have the idea that maybe a serving is a lot, you know, we can have a lot more than what that serving actually gives us. So it's making sure that you're cognizant of if you're having, say, like a cheesecake or a, you know, really sort of calorific dessert, making sure that the more calories, the smaller that portion size has to be. So if you've got a sweet tooth, it's absolutely fine to have, you know, dessert after dinner. Don't just have dessert because it's the thing to do as well. If you're full up, don't just shovel more food in. It's your brain's telling you and your tummy's telling you you're full. You know, if you have, say you have dinner at 7 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night, wait until you're hungry at maybe 9 o'clock before bed. Just have a wee quick fix, you know, a wee midnight snack sort of thing, and then go to bed. But don't shovel it all in at once, because then you're going to feel really, really full for about an hour to 2 hours, and then you're going to feel really, really hungry. You get that full feeling, and then you get that really empty feeling, and then that's where you go back for even more food, and that's when you start to pile up more calories into you.
Mm-hmm. Aye, that makes a lot of sense, and hopefully there's plenty of tips there. Now, again, I think lots of good advice, lots of real sort of clarity in making the most of the basic foods that people will have as part of their sort of weekly shopping anyway. So hopefully for many there'll be the opportunity to try out some of the ideas that you've shared. In terms of yourself, tell us about your favourite meal. What is the thing that you what's your go-to meal and why?
Oh, I've got loads just now. Like I've been doing like homemade pizza with dairy-free jalapeno cheese, which has been delicious. But I like again, if I'm going to have a heavy meal, I'm going to make sure I work really, really hard in the morning to make sure that doesn't go on as fat and actually goes to my muscles as recovery. I also made vegan macaroni cheese, which was with a boiled butternut squash and onion, and then I blended it with a liquidizer, and it turned into like an orange cream sauce. Had the pasta on, mixed it in with the pasta, put some salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and then grated the jalapeno dairy-free cheese over the top, and then stuck it in the oven for like 10 minutes. Even Caroline, even my wife, she couldn't tell the difference, that it was like it didn't have any dairy in it whatsoever.
Amazing.
And again, because it was made by vegetables, the only fat that was on it was the dairy-free cheese. The rest of it was just all vegetables and carbohydrates. So it was so low fat, it was unbelievable. So that's kind of like a guilt-free pleasure. But for my go-to for speed, like absolute, I am starving. It's 7:30 at night. We've still not made any dinner. Stir fry, chicken stir fry, all the way.
Mm-hmm.
You get all the in Morrison's, they do the chopped stir fry ready-made bags.
Mm-hmm.
So it might have cabbage, carrots, onion, and pepper, and it's like three for £3 or three for £2.50. And then you've got your sauce, and then you've got your bean sprouts or your noodles, and just literally cook the chicken, put some salt, pepper, get that fried up, and then pile in the veggies, put that sauce over the top. The sauce has got a bit of salt in it,
Mm-hmm.
rightly so, because it has to stay basically to stay in date for longer. You preserve it with salt, but it's got salt in there. We've been working out hard, so I'll put that in there. Maybe a wee bit of soya sauce from the cupboard, and then that's me get that meal in maybe literally 15 minutes or less. If it doesn't seem as if it's going to fill me up too much, then what I do is I get from the cupboard maybe two wraps, stick them in the microwave for 5 seconds, heat them up, then I'll scoop the stir fry into the wraps, and then eat it like that to give me more carbohydrate.
Sure.
So that's like my absolute quick go-to. And then the guilty pleasure, if you're vegan, if you're dairy free, then that dairy free mac and cheese is really, really delicious. And then if you're wanting a heavy meal, what we do is we get the dough. It's called Just Roll, and it's in a blue bag,
Mm-hmm.
and it's from the fridge section, and it's sourdough dough. And what we do is just cut that open, roll it out, put the pasta sauce on the top, put the ingredients on there, and then put the cheese on there. Like if Caroline will have mozzarella, I'll have my dairy cheese, dairy-free cheese, and then we'll put that in the oven for 20 minutes. And literally we have really good pizza within 30, maybe 25, 30 minutes, and that is delicious.
Brilliant.
I know people probably want me to say about chicken salads and things. I have chicken salads. I have chicken and bacon salads and chicken and avocado salads and all these sort of things, but we all know that let's face it, if we put down a McDonald's and we put down a chicken salad to somebody and say, what one's healthy? What one's going to be better for our body? 99% of this world, 98% of this world will know that chicken salad is a lot better for your body than that McDonald's. But the reason why we go to the McDonald's is because of the taste and the flavour. So if you can make meals like McDonald's and Pizza Hut and all these other places in your own home, with good quality materials and they taste just like it or even better, you're gonna go with that because it's got more nutrition in it. The same like I said about putting in the bunkers into the basket. I'll still have, as long, but it's the quality of the meat is higher, so then it's better fuel for the body. I always look at ultimately I always look at the food as fuel. We were talking about the Formula One car last time I was on.
That's right.
If I put diesel in an unleaded car, it's not going to run properly. If you put bad food, if you put rubbish fuel in your car, especially a Formula One car, let's say you own a Ferrari, you're not going to put the rubbish fuel in the Ferrari. You're going to put premium unleaded in that car for that engine to purr and to go as fast as you want. Why do we treat our bodies differently from cars? Because we can't replace parts of our body as easily as we can go to Quick Fit and replace a car part. It has really bad consequences on our body when we replace parts of our body with other people's parts of body because we've not treated it right. Why are we doing it to our bodies when we probably wouldn't do it to really expensive cars if we had them?
So on that note, is there any food that you would absolutely say, no, that's one to avoid? To take out the sort of fast food stuff at this point in time, is there any food that you would say, no, keep away from that?
No, I wouldn't. So in all my years of coaching and training, when you think you know it all and you think, you've been in the game for 10, 15, however many years, and there was this old guy, I still remember his name was called Bert, and this was when I was over at Virgin Active in Mulgai before it turned to Nuffield Health, and he used to go on the rower all the time. And this guy, I mean, he had been through the wars. Like, he had about 4 stents in his body, and calcification here and calcification there because he smoked loads of cigars and he worked in the stock market. And, so the Virgin Active had a little Costa attached to the top floor. And I go up from my lunch break to sit and eat my quinoa and my salad and my, all the healthy stuff, my kale chips as well. And he's sitting having, after his rowing session, he's having a muffin and a coffee. And I'm like, Bert, you shouldn't be having that muffin. You just blooming worked your butt off. You're going to put it all back on now. And he said, let me tell you something, Sean. He said, if you eat everything in moderation, you can only ever be moderately wrong. And I just put my hands up and went, mate, I cannot disagree with that whatsoever. So my message is that if you've got some foods that, aren't the healthiest and that they're not good for you, whether it be, a takeaway, whether it be a bit of cheesecake or a cake or some, really delicious ice cream, if you work hard, if you exercise and you train, then you can have that. If you don't exercise and train, then what you need to do is just moderate that a little bit more, because you can't, in a sense of, you can't keep rewarding yourself if you're not doing anything to be rewarded for. So that'd be like you thinking that you don't need to work hard, but then you're expecting a promotion. So people are eating the ice cream and then getting maybe a little bit frustrated that they're putting on weight. You're rewarding yourself without doing any hard work. So the hard work can either be that you prolong the satisfaction of the dessert or the bad food. So you say on a Friday, what I'm going to do is from Saturday through to Thursday, I'm going to be as good as I can be. I'm going to be as disciplined as I can be. And then on a Friday, maybe I can have a wee cheat day. Or if you don't want to wait a full 6 days, then what you can say is, right, I'm going to have a little treat, a little bit of a treat every day for being good on those days. So you kind of like save up your calories just a little bit, have that little treat at the back end of your day, to give yourself a pat on the back for doing so well. Maybe having porridge for breakfast, having eggs for lunch, and then maybe having like a nice, chicken and rice and vegetables for your dinner, or your nice home cooked spaghetti bolognese. You go, right, well, I've done really good today. Like I've ate really well. I've had lots of vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, proteins. Right, I can have a wee treat to say well done.
Mm.
All good, but you cannot keep rewarding yourself if you're not going through the discipline of making sure that you're being good from time to time. So that's what, like, literally, I'm going to steal it from Bert. If you eat those things in moderation, you can only ever be moderately wrong.
Wise words for Bert. Thank you for sharing them, Bert and Sean. I think that hopefully covers the things that we wanted to talk about. Obviously, we're in the stage now that we're coming out of lockdown. We're in phase 1 out of lockdown. We don't know when phase 2, 3 and 4 will be, but I think the things that we've talked about in both of these chats, in terms of staying motivated, trying to stay active, and of course the types of food you're eating much more healthily where possible. They don't rely on being in lockdown or in certain phases. They can potentially be lifestyle choices that help. This is an opportunity, and I think we talked about that before. This is an opportunity to make those changes, because people have had 10 weeks where they've had to adapt and think differently about food, about everything. And this might just be the chance to say, right, this is the time. This is the time where we're going to look at our food and we're going to eat a bit better, using the ingredients that we already have in the cupboard and in the fridge anyway. Anything else you want to add just in conclusion to this discussion, Sean?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. During lockdown, we've had the time to make those changes, and if we haven't made them yet, and we've listened to this podcast, then we need to start, because if we don't do them now, probably won't. It'll be harder to make them when we go back to the rat race of working 9 to 5 or doing our shift work and things like that. And that's where things do get hard, where you are working shifts where you may be working 5 a.m. till 2 p.m. You're working 2 till 10, or you're working a 9 till 5, and there's no consistency. That's where, when we're talking about the batch cooking, the slow cooker, put the things in the freezer or the fridge and bring them out. These will really help make your life a lot easier if you're wanting to live a healthier, more vibrant life and stay away from illness and disease, food, nutritional related diseases. And it will give you more time with your friends, your family, your kids. It will, it will make your life a lot better. I understand that it may be a little bit more of an inconvenience, but again, what we spoke about in the last podcast about the short-term, people are looking for the short-term gain, i.e. fast, convenient, but it's a long-term loss. Making your food is a short-term loss, i.e. Man, I need to chop that veg and I need to wait 15 minutes, but it's a long-term gain because of the nourishment that you're giving your body to be able to keep going and fight off illnesses and fight off diseases, and really give ourselves a chance to be around a lot longer with no physical ailments or internal ailments.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's it. It's these short-term changes for long-term benefit. That's what we're talking about here. What I would say is, if you've enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Let us know if and when you try the various suggestions that Sean's made in the chat today, how it works out. Get the kids involved. Kids, pester your mum and dad to get you involved in cooking family meals. And fingers crossed that this is an opportunity to start to change some of those eating habits. And yes, we acknowledge you are entitled to a treat every now and again. Of course you are, we all are. But these changes for the longer term will benefit us all. I'd just like to say thank you, Sean, yet again, for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge, and hopefully those who are listening will get the benefits of that in the longer term. And no doubt in the next couple of weeks we'll be chatting again about another subject that hopefully will be of interest to our listeners and our participants. And on behalf of Achieve More, thanks for all your support as ever.
Thank you very much, Robert. It was great to be on the podcast.
Speak to you soon.
Cheers.